Napoleon Bonaparte is one of the most outstanding rulers in the history of mankind. He was born on August 15, 1769, on the island of Corsica in a poor noble family. In his early youth, he dreamed of a writing career, but he was not destined to become a writer. In 1784, Napoleon entered the Paris military school, where he studied very successfully. In 1789, he supported the French Revolution, contributed to the establishment of a new government in Corsica, and then transferred to the emerging National Guard and was promoted to lieutenant colonel. From 1793, Napoleon took part in military operations against the royalists and the British in southern France and against the Austrians in Italy. For his merits in the capture of Toulon, he was awarded the rank of brigadier general. In 1795, he refused to be appointed to the infantry and thought about joining the British East India Company. However, another uprising of the monarchists broke out in Paris, and Napoleon used cannons on the streets of the capital, won, and was immediately promoted to divisional general. One of the main milestones in Napoleon's life was his marriage to Josephine. Bonaparte's beloved was 6 years older than him. Napoleon Bonaparte was the commander of the Italian Army of the Republic. After the wedding, he left for a new place of service, but his wife Josephine did not follow him and enjoyed secular life in Paris. In Italy, Napoleon won several victories over the armies of Italian states and their Austrian allies. As a result of the Italian campaign, Napoleon acquired wealth and gained popularity in France. He recommended that the authorities of the Republic invade Egypt, which was considered an outpost on the way to India. On July 21, 1798, the French corps defeated the Egyptian army in the Battle of the Pyramids. While Napoleon was fighting in the east, France was engulfed in a severe political crisis. He returned to Paris. In November 1799, Bonaparte disbanded the Council of 500, the lower house of the French Parliament, and by changing the constitution, became the first consul. In 1800, Napoleon came to northern Italy with the French army for the second time and defeated the Austrians, gaining influence in southern Europe. After making peace with Vienna and London, he began internal political reforms. He even reached an agreement with the Pope on the recognition of his power. But it all ended sadly 9 years later. Napoleon seized the Pope's possessions, for which he was excommunicated from the church. Due to his unwillingness to confront his main competitor, Britain, Napoleon refused to support French colonies in the Western Hemisphere and sold Louisiana to the Americans in 1803. On May 18, 1804, a new constitution was adopted in France, according to which Napoleon became Emperor of France. A year later, a major war broke out in Europe. On December 2, 1805, Napoleon defeated the Russo-Austrian army in the Battle of Austerlitz, and a year later he went to war with Prussia and Russia. But the fighting proved difficult for him. A whole series of battles did not allow the winner to be identified. As a result, on July 7, 1807, Bonaparte concluded the Treaty of Tilsit with Alexander I, which did not last long. Russia expressed clear dissatisfaction with the inability to trade with Britain. In the summer of 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte assembled a large army and invaded Russia. Russian troops retreated deep into the country, wearing down Napoleon with small battles and not allowing him to give a general battle. The result of this exhausting war was the Battle of Borodino, which took place on September 7, 1812. The Russian troops withdrew and then left Moscow, into which the French entered on September 14. However, soon the Napoleonic army, deprived of supplies and not ready for severe frosts, was forced to retreat and leave Russia, losing a large part of its soldiers and guns. Back home, Napoleon Bonaparte quickly assembled a new army. However, its combat capability was lower than that of the old one, and despite individual successes, Napoleon was no longer able to maintain control over Europe. Joint actions of Russia, Austria, Prussia, and Sweden led to the fact that in October 1813, French troops were defeated in one of the largest battles of the 19th century, the Battle of the Nations near Leipzig. In March 1814, the anti-Napoleonic coalition forces entered Paris. A week later, Napoleon abdicated and attempted suicide. However, the poison did not work on him, and Napoleon survived. The victors gave him the island of Elba in the Mediterranean Sea, but the story did not end there. On February 26, 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte fled from Elba and raised French troops. However, France was not ready for the next war. On June 18, the English and German armies defeated Napoleon in a battle near the Belgian village of Waterloo. Napoleon again renounced power and asked for political asylum in Great Britain, but the British did not want to leave Napoleon in Europe and sent him into exile on the remote island of St. Helena. There, the former emperor was in constant depression, and on May 5, 1821, he died in agony from stomach cancer at the age of 52. I looked at the life of the great Napoleon, thought about it and realized I would not want to change my life for the victories of the emperor with a sea of blood and thousands of dead. Do you? Write in the comments, would you like to live the life of Napoleon instead of your own life?